3 minutes. That's all I gave the three men standing in my driveway dressed up in knockoff tactical vests with HOA enforcement stitched where a badge should be. 3 minutes, that wasn't a threat. That was a promise one I'd made to myself the second I saw those men sizing up my daughter. Their eyes flicking past me like I was just a speed bump on the way to whatever scare tactic they thought they could pull. Folks, they had no clue who they were dealing with. They must have heard the stories probably from Karen herself. Queen bee of our lovely HOA. The kind of woman who thinks she's God's gift to property management and who hates a no even more than she hates dandelions on her perfect lawn. But before we dive into how three guys with cheap radios tried to intimidate a 16-year-old on my land, drop a comment where you're watching from. I want to see just how far stories like this travel because trust me, if you've ever dealt with an HOA, you'll feel this one in your bones. Let's rewind. My property. It sits just outside the HOA line. Always has. It's got its own deed, its own survey, and the county's got records older than Karen's manicure appointments proving it. But the HOA, well, they got hungry, started buying up empty lots, building pastel palaces, paving roads that stop right at my old split-rail fence. Suddenly, my little patch became the only missing piece in their expansion. They wanted it. Bad. Karen started soft smiles, handshakes, even homemade muffins once, though. I never ate 'em. Fair market value, she'd say, like money could buy history. She looked everywhere but my eyes when she talked. I told her straight. Not for sale. This place isn't just a house. My wife made it a home. She died here. My daughter took her first steps on that porch. I'm not moving. Not for any price. The smile dropped. The mask came off. That's when the letter started. Notices taped to my mailbox, fines for things that didn't apply: unauthorized fencing, environmental hazard, improper landscaping. One even cited failure to maintain decorative lighting. I sent one reply. Calm, firm, legal. I am not and never will be a member of your HOA. My property isn't subject to your rules. That was the last I heard from Karen, the friendly version anyway. Then the threats started. Not at me, but at my kid. 16 shy, still carrying the weight of her mom's death. I work a lot, sometimes late, so she's home alone after school doing homework on the porch, headphones in. Karen knew all that. A week after my last reply, these enforcers showed up. Not cops, just three big guys in black vests driving a rental with tinted windows, pulling right up my gravel drive like they owned the place. They walked straight past me, heading for my daughter. One even called her by name. Ma'am, you're in violation of HOA minor occupancy policy. Like, that's even a thing. You need to come with us. My girl froze. Didn't scream, didn't cry, just balled up her fist, backing toward the door. That's when I stepped in. Something cold settled in me the way it does when you realize talk's over. 3 minutes, I said, blocking their path. That's how long you've got to get off my property. The lead guy, big chest, little brain, started rattling off fake codes. HOA Section 14110B, occupancy, minor supervision, temporary detainment for review, like reciting gibberish would make it real. I cut him off. You don't get to threaten my family. You're trespassing. You're leaving. Now. He just grinned wider, turned to his buddies and said, routine stuff, won't take long. Then God help him, he said. She'll be back by the end of the week. Compliance, you know. That was it. The other two stepped forward. One grabbed my daughter's arm way too hard. She gasped. The world snapped into focus for me. Anger, sure, but something calmer too, like when you know exactly what needs doing. I moved fast. Drove my shoulder into the leader, sent him flying backwards into the dust papers shooting out of his hands like confetti. I spun, punched the first guy holding my daughter hard, years of bottled up rage in that swing. He dropped. The third guy tried to lunge. I hooked his legs, slammed him to the ground, drove my fist into his ribs. The whole thing took maybe 15 seconds, but it felt like a lifetime. Neighbors spilled out, phones up, yelling, somebody shouting my name. I barely heard them. The leader staggered up, hands raised. Let's just calm down. Too late. I grabbed his vest, got right in his face. You ever come near my family again, you won't get back up. He collapsed as sirens started echoing up the road, blue and red lights flickering over the barn. I didn't run. I stood there, boots in the dirt, my daughter clinging to me, three so-called enforcers, groaning in the weeds. Cops rolled in hot doors, swinging open hands on their holsters. I put my hands up slow, told them exactly who I was. A Navy SEAL property owner father. Those men tried to take my daughter. I said, calm as I could manage. My girl, still shaking, nodded, told the officers they grabbed me. All three. That's all it took. Paramedics carted the men off. The cops started picking up the fake citations, no seals, no signatures, nothing legal about any of it. Where'd you get these? One officer barked at the least injured guy. No answer. That's when the neighbors stepped up one by one, telling cops about harassment threats, prior run-ins with Karen's special security. All recorded, all on camera. Now here's where it gets good. The officers pulled me aside, voices lower, respect in their eyes now. You're not under arrest. We can see what happened here. The man who tried to plead, he broke first. Told the cops everything Karen hired them, paid them extra to target problem owners, used them to scare people off their land for HOA expansion. My property was the crown jewel. The case went fast. By the end of the week, Karen was in cuffs. No review board, no warning, straight to jail. They hit her with everything: conspiracy, child endangerment, impersonation of law enforcement, fraud. She got 14 years. The three goons, 8 years apiece for the ones who laid hands on my daughter. No parole. The talker, 5 years minimum. HOA was dissolved assets, frozen, every homeowner notified. After the dust settled, I stood with my daughter on that porch, the same one her mom built, the same one Karen thought she could steal. Sunsetting air cleaned the land, ours again. That's when it hit me, the lesson. Sometimes the law takes its sweet time, but karma, she don't miss. Power built on fear is only as strong as the first person who stands up. Sometimes being the last holdout isn't stubbornness, it's survival. So let me throw it back to you. Did I do the right thing, or just what any father would? Where's the line between self-defense and revenge, standing up for your rights and taking things too far? I want to hear your stories. Drop them in the comments. Justice isn't always pretty, but man, when it lands, it sure feels right.